All right, we are live. Don't have a lot of time today, so we're going to go through this pretty quick. This is a first look, a very first look at the Unihertz Atom XL. And I'm just going to get the stuff going live on Amazon here. And I've got my two ham radios with me, and the reason is that this phone apparently supports a feature that allows you to use it as a walkie-talkie in addition to it working as a smartphone. So you can make phone calls with it and send text messages with it, but also connect to FRS radios, and apparently it also works over ham radio frequencies. So I have my two ham radios here that I will attempt to connect the phone to. And a viewer told me about this thing. I thought it was really interesting, so we'll see how it comes together. Joe Tyson is here. Kevin Hawthorne is here. Reese Edwards is here. And Recipe Bob is here. Usual crowd. Shuffles in, as they say. And we're going to open up the phone and get it set up. And this was provided to the channel free of charge by Unihertz. And we've been looking at a lot of their phones lately because they have some really cool phones. They do a lot of different stuff. And so this one, and all we're going to have time for today is to really focus in this live stream on one feature, because I've got the kids that I have to watch in about an hour. So we will do a quick unboxing. We'll try out this radio feature, and then I got to drive off to our softball thing. So like all the Unihertz phones, you get an extra screen protector in the box, the manual. We don't look at manuals on this channel. And Joe Tyson says, yeah, I didn't know this existed until a viewer told me about it. And it literally works on as a ham radio on the 70 centimeter band, in addition to FRS. Trent Curtis is here. I thought you'd find this one interesting. Yeah, this is going to be fun. It does DMR also. So I've got my Anytone 878, which is a DMR radio. Let's see if it does that. Richard Maxey is here, HT is here, and William Wilkinson is here too. And if you're on Amazon, say hi on there. All right, so let's take the phone out. Now, they have another phone called the Atom that is, ooh, this thing's nice. That's smaller than this. This is the larger Atom. But it is built like a brick. It's solid, and it's waterproof like the other one is too. And I'm going to take this sticker off, but put it in the back of the box here. It's nice. Yeah, they make some really cool phones. Their cameras aren't that great, but everything else is really neat. And then up top here is where the antenna goes, and it's an SMA connector. I'm not sorry, SMA connector right up top here. So this is the same connector. I could actually stick. I've got one of my longer rubber duck antennas on here. Yeah, I could totally just attach this antenna, I think. Yeah, that would fit on there, I think. But it has its own antenna. And this one's kind of overkill because it's kind of a long one. But it comes with a 70 centimeter UHF antenna right here. So we're going to power this sucker up and see what kind of radio functions we can get out of it. So you don't have to have the antenna attached all the time, but if you wanted to use it as a walkie-talkie, you would want to attach this. And it's a short antenna because it's 70 centimeters. You don't need a longer antenna. So the antenna on this Baofeng radio here is UHF and VHF. And it's a little bit longer, but this one will function just fine on the band that it's designed for. So good stuff. And the Tan Man is here. Yeah, we're going to have lots of fun stuff going on. Yeah, it's going to be a busy couple of weeks, and I just don't have enough time in the day. It's like, do I edit or start this next one? So I've got all the videos done for this week. I just shot an update on the huge TV antenna that I just put up outside. I took it back in already. We're going to talk more about it. I actually had much better luck with it than I intimated in the weekly wrap-up video, so we are in good shape there. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go down to see the SLS when it launches. I could have gone down for the rollout, but I'm just not close enough. And it's just a lot of traveling for you know, it's not a good business case for me to go down and do that. But I have friends down there, so we'll get some imagery of that. All right, so let me go get into this phone here. And this is an Android phone, but it also has a walkie-talkie built into it. So it is, and I'm really curious as to how the interface works on this. Yeah, and I don't know if it does tones. So that's one of the things I'm going to look at. I don't even know if it'll do a multi, what do they call it, a crossband? I don't think it, or cross frequency. Like it won't, I don't know. We'll see what it's able to do. So let me just log into my, so this is the Titan XL, which is the larger, it's not Titan, what is this? This is the Atom. So there's an Atom phone, which is smaller than this, and this one is the bigger one. And again, the antenna is not always required. Now what I'm going to do also real quick is just turn the Vox off on this. Hang on one second. So I have Vox on, which means it'll key whenever I say anything. I'm working on another video with this radio because you can contact the space station with this thing if you have a different antenna. And I've got this, I have a combination of Android apps that I can run at the same time where I can track the station and then send text messages through the space station with one of these things. So we're going to do some of that a little bit later. Price on this, if you go to the Amazon page, is $339 right now. And does it have a headphone jack? It does have a headphone jack here at the bottom. Right down there. As a matter of fact, what I could do, I have a cable upstairs. I can't do this now. But you could send, through an Android phone, you could send, actually you can't do APRS with this because it doesn't support the frequency. But you could do just general packet radio through it if you wanted to. But I'm also curious as to how the radio, if it can pass the radio's audio through to an app on the, there's like a lot of things to try out with this because it could have a lot of neat potential. Oops, shoot. Hang on one second, folks. I just got to type in my password here. It's always hard on these smaller screens. So this is like a 4-inch display on this one. All right, so we're getting my account set up here. And we'll let that go through. And here's what it looks like. And again, the antenna you don't have to leave on all the time, just when you want it to be a radio. All right. Accept. I'm going to do my screen lock here. And I think there's a fingerprint reader on it too. Yes, so we can do a little fingerprint thing. So touch the sensor. Where's the sensor? Oh, it's down here. So there's a sensor on the I should have added my thumb to it also. We'll do it later. Okay. Google Assistant's going to do, sure, why not? And so that's the open-ended question, if it needs a hotspot. So we will see. I'm guessing the DMR is going to be limited on this thing because I think it's designed more to be like a simplex two-way walkie-talkie as opposed to something that might access repeaters or whatever. And CF says, looks like yeah, it does have that look, doesn't it? Yeah, it's kind of a mixed, it's really interesting that they thought to do this, right? Who would have thought you would want a phone with a walkie-talkie built in, but they did. All right. Okay, so now we are booted up. And as always, we need to check and see if there is an update. I'm sure there probably is one for this. And the reason why I'm going to look for an update is because Unihertz has a lot of their own custom software. Yep. Let's see. Oh, it's up to date. Perfect. Okay. How about that, everybody? The first time we don't have an update to do. Okay, so now let us go to the walkie-talkie feature, because I'm really curious about how they handle all this. So let's see if we can find there's an FM radio app, intercom. Maybe they call it intercom? Let's see. Okay, so it looks like it is operating on FRX frequencies, and it's in like a DMR mode. They call it digital intercom. And I just want to make sure that I'm authorized to operate on these frequencies before FRS frequencies. But it looks like you can set separate transmit and receive frequencies. So this might work for, yeah, so right out of the gate, I don't think this is authorized on, I'm just trying to see what the range is here. I think it had, let's see, let me go look at the band plan here, ARRL band plan. Because that's the only thing, I've been seeing this, in the Baofangs too to some degree, where you buy these radios and then they let anyone operate on them, but they really shouldn't be. So if I look at the 70 centimeter band, so I think the band for amateurs starts at 420 megahertz. So I don't want to key up on this because I don't know if I'm authorized to, I know I'm definitely not authorized on those frequencies. All right, so let's take a look here. So we can add additional channels. It's got analog channels and it has digital channels. Let me look and see where my repeaters are nearby here. I probably won't be able to hit this inside my basement, especially with 2 watts, which is all it can do. But if I go to 70 centimeters, and the one that's on my high school, not that far away from me, Westbrook, is 444. And the DMR is 445, 7375. So let's see if I can even put that in. So we're going to call this Westbrook. Okay, so this is a digital channel, so we're going to have this be DMR. And then we'll try it out contacting this other radio here too in a second. All right, so my send frequency is going to be 450. And again, I'm an amateur radio operator, so I am authorized to use these frequencies. Why can't I do, well, I guess it wants you to spell the whole thing out. 450. 73750. 450 73750 for the uplink, and the downlink is 445 73750. And high power on this is 2 watts. Now, interestingly, this does support color codes, so it's like a full DMR radio here. So my repeater is color code 2. And then I can choose the slot. So let me look for this real quick. So the slot is, I'm going to do the, put in the parrot one, which will repeat back to me. So slot 1, color code 2. And this is a talk group. The group number, so this is like a full-on ham radio, everybody. 9998. And I don't know if it's going to have enough power, though, to hit that repeater. We'll find out. Encrypt switch is off. You can't use encryption on amateur radio bands. Oh, what did it say here? Okay, so I did not put in enough numbers. It says 400 Send frequency is out of, oh, I got to keep adding zeros maybe? Okay, let's see if that does it. That did it. Perfect. Okay, so let's hit this up. We're going to switch to that channel. All right. It's probably not going to work in here because I'm too far back, but let's see what happens. Oh, that's the volume. So I got to hit this button here. This is KC1 RGS testing. Yeah, I'm not going to get anything on this. So maybe we'll go outside with it real quick and see. So let me get my phone going here. So you got to be careful with this thing because I don't know if the frequencies that it operates on are authorized for this use. Yeah, no Android 12 on this one. And if you're on amateur frequencies, yes. Actually, oh, you're right. That's right, because you have to put in your ID, your DMR ID. Let me see. So I have mine right now on the parrot thing. So mic gain, group number, encrypt switch is off. And you can actually set up multiple talk groups on here. So it does not look like it has an option, although it does have contacts. Let's see, setting, let's take a look here. Limit send time, auto exit tune. I mean, this is like a full-blown amateur radio, honest to goodness. So I'm looking for a spot that I can put in my DMR ID. I mean, it won't be the end of the world if I just announce my call sign. It's fine. Now this is interesting. Oh, these are DMR messages, which we can experiment with the Anytone radio here. There's some depth to this, isn't there? I almost maybe should make a separate video for ham operators about how this works. Yeah, I got no place to put in my own contact. Oh, that's good to know, Trent. Yeah, so the wattage on this is 2 watts. And it looks like, here, I'll show you the frequencies that it operates on for its built-in feature. So it lets you So for example, if we go back to the beginning here, this is interesting. So it looks like, for example, so analog channel 11 is 411.025 megahertz, receive is 411, so it's 411.0250. That is not an amateur frequency. And I'm not sure who's assigned to that. So that's the question. But what we could do, I'll set up an analog one in a minute, but let me do you know what I'll do real quick? Because we're in the house here, so there's really no way that I think this is going to impact anything. Actually, right, this won't work because I'm just thinking out loud here. Yeah, let me go try this out real quick. So bear with me for a second here. I'll let you look at my other radio. And I'm going to go just outside and point it at, I'm going to go point this at the thing. And I can do, so bear with me. I'm going to just go outside here. I'm going to turn the volume way up on this. Here we go. I just keyed. And I keyed this just to like activate the KC1 RGS testing. Yeah, I got nothing. So that should have read back to me. And it's not doing anything. So I think that's probably not working. So we'll try some analog stuff first here. And then I can also do just some digital simplexing here too. So it doesn't have enough power to actually hit my, it doesn't have enough power, oh, I turned the light on. It doesn't have enough power to hit the repeater that's near me. So I may have to go drive a little closer and see what happens. No, I think that's in band, isn't it? Oh, you're right. Huh. I put the wrong thing in there. No wonder why it didn't work. All right, so let me fix that real quick. So why did that? That's weird. My repeater has the 445 to 450. So I'm on the right frequency. That's out of band? No, 440. Yeah, no, we're within. So 445 to 450. Yeah, it is a little bit higher, right? It's 450.73750. That's where their uplink is. So let me check the actual band allocation. How far is the repeater? The repeater is about 5 miles away. So that's a little too far, I think, for this little radio. Although I don't know if it's working or not. So let me check the... And the guys that have this repeater set up, these are all Aries guys. You think they wouldn't put something out of band. Yeah, it goes to 450, doesn't it? Yeah, it's just slightly above. 450.73750. Well, you know what we'll do is we will stick to what's in band. And let's see. I'm just going to go on 446, which is the simplex thing. So we'll check that out real quick. And it's also telling me that the app is a high power consumption app. I would believe that. Yeah, 450.73. So it's just slightly out of band. I'm curious as to why that is, because I'm looking at their. Oh, I wonder. Hang on a second. Let me go look at the actual thing here. I bet you that it's an error on repeater web. So let's go over to Connecticut DMR. Yeah, that's what it is. Westbrook, 445. Hang on. Yeah, the offset's running in the wrong direction. That's what happened. So I had the wrong frequency. So repeater web is wrong. And that's what I did. So my other radio, so I can't see it on my other radio because I don't have my other computer hooked up. All right, so let's try to do this again. So let's go back over to the intercom app here. And the receive frequency, so it should be minus, not plus. So it should be 440. that's probably what happened here. Let's try one other thing here. All right, club repeaters. DMR. Not affiliated with, oh, it's not affiliated with the club. Yeah, I think they must have gotten it wrong. Yep, so it should be 440. Okay, so let's go back in and edit that, and then we'll try hitting it again, which is why it didn't work. But the good news is, I only hit it, thank you for the reminder too, by the way. We only hit it with 2 watts, so hopefully there was nothing important on that. So let's go back and edit. It actually keeps a recording of what I send out too, as PCM files. All right, so let's edit this. All right, so instead, we're going to have the send frequency. Yeah, well, that, by the way, that's the problem with this, is there is no protection on this at all. So people are buying this radio or this phone, and although it will cover the FRS frequencies, which are allowed, it's kind of like buying a Baofeng, which like it lets you tune to anything, and you're responsible. So that's what happened here. So the input frequency should be so if it's offset, the input frequency should be 440. Is that right? Yeah, 440. 440 737 500. Yeah, I don't think we had any interference issues. I did walk outside briefly, but nothing serious there. Kyle is here. Hello there. All right, so let's try this again. So 440 737 500, and now we're in band. All right, so now we're good. And let's go back to intercom. Let's make sure that it's got the right frequencies here now. Okay, transmit 440 737 500, receive, here, I'll give you a better view of it here, 445 737 500. And Stinger says it's not even authorized for, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if they're going to get into trouble with this thing. Because what it's using, so here, let me go back to the beginning here. If we go back to the other channels, I'll give you the full list. So for example, digital channel 1, this is all DMR, 2 watts. It is going for basically 400, 102, 401.02, which is definitely not in the amateur band. And I haven't transmitted on any of these frequencies except the one we just did. All right, Flood of Sins is here. Plasma Storm is here too. All right, so let me go hit this again. We're not going to get anywhere on this because 2 watts in the basement is not getting far at all. And it also looks like when you hold it down, oh, you got to hold it down. Okay. All right, so let me go back out to the door and see if we can hit something, and then we'll try some simplex. And we'll do some analog simplex in a second. All right, so let me just turn off the thing here. But it will support repeaters. So if you're near one, it's only 2 watts, but it'll hit it. And it's just going to be FM, obviously. KC1RGS testing. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. All right, so next step. Let us do some simplex. Yeah, I'm a little too far away from the repeater. I could barely hit it sometimes with my larger radio. So the band plan So let's go over to the band plan here. So I think the national calling frequency in the US is 446. So we're going to make a new channel. And I'm just going to have this be analog. We'll call this calling. All right, analog channel, we're just going to have it be 446. Oops, I did 449. All right, and receive frequency, 446. Right, 446 is the national calling simplex frequency. 000. We can do narrow band or wide band. I'm going to do wide band just for the better audio quality. We'll do high power. Low power is like 0.5 watts. Squelch level, I'm going to set it to 1 so we don't hear the static. And receive audio type. Okay, so there was a question about whether or not it can activate a repeater, and it can. So you have CTSS and so these are what you use to activate a repeater so that you can extend beyond where you want to go. The problem where I am is that there is no 70 centimeter repeater in range. So I can't make use of that, but it was kind of neat that that's how that works. Okay, so now I've got 446 set up in here. All right, so we're on 446. And let's go adjust our trusty Baofeng here. All right, so now we're at 446, same frequency on both. Let me adjust my squelch a little bit here. A little bit of squelch going on here, so let me just adjust that real quick. I'm still learning this radio. I just got this one. It's pretty neat though. It's somewhat useful actually. All right, so I'm getting a lot of interference down here, so that's part of it. Set it for 3. Okay, there we go. Yeah, still getting a lot of interference down here. Okay, so now we're going to take a test here and see what happens. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do. So 446. This is KC1 RGS testing. That worked. And let me open it back up here. KC1 RG. Wow, it's loud. KC1 RGS testing. That works. Pretty neat. And I'll light up this one too. So we'll put my Anytone up on here. Now the Anytone is a DMR radio, so we can we do simplex? Let me ask my ham operators. Can you do DMR on the simplex frequency? I'm going to turn the squelch up on this one too. Radio set. I was going to turn the squelch back on this one. I've been messing around with APRS in the space station the other day, so I have everything all out of whack on here. And we'll go squelch 2. Okay. Back in my day, when I was a kid, there was dials for squelch. Now you got to dig through menus to get to it. All right, so I think if I hit, which button did I set up for this? P1. Yeah, there we go. 446. 0, 0, 0, 0. Oh, it's on digital right now. You know what? This is a good experiment. So 446, and I have it on digital right now. All right, great. Good answers. Okay, so let's go in here, and then I'm going to adjust this. And what I might do, yeah, I may drive down to like where the repeater. I know where the repeater is located, and maybe I'll try to hit the repeater. You know, a little field trip for me later and see what we do there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new channel. So we're going to create a new digital channel. Yeah, it seems like I have 446 as part of my scanning thing. I never hear anything on it. Nobody uses it. Where I am, it's really really kind of quiet here on the VHF and UHF. So we're going to call this DMR calling. This is like a legit radio, and that's the problem, is that I have to dig into it now and see what the FCC authorizes people to use. Okay, so we're going to call this DMR calling, and we're going to do 446 again, right? Yeah, 446. 446 00000. Now, if you're watching this, because I have some people on Amazon watching, if you are not a licensed amateur radio operator, the frequencies that I am on, you cannot use. All right, so I'm going to have a color code 0 just kind of direct here. I don't know if I have to set up something on this radio to talk to it with DMR, so we'll see what happens here. Contact type. Oh, okay, so I'm just going to have it say all. Direct mode, okay, good. And I cannot encrypt, by the way, either. All right, so we got 446 in here. Contact type all, encrypt switch off. Okay, so let's hit. So again, 446. DMR calling. This one may be more difficult because of how this radio is configured. So let's see what happens. All right, so we're on that one now. And let's do a little test here and see if it shows up. 446. KC1 RGS testing. Nothing, but let's try it on the other direction here. So 446, digital. Oh, you know what? So I've got to configure this radio to talk to this one because DMR needs a little more coaxing here. So let me go back in. And I can't remember where I need to set this. Yeah, let me set up a new channel here. So we're going to call this we're going to call this test. So I'm just going to build this from scratch in here. Usually I do this on the computer, but it's easier this way. All right, simplex. I think simplex will work here. I just don't know what talk group number that is. Digital. All right, let me see what I have it set up here. So color code 0. Oh, is there 0? No. So I'm going to set it to. Okay, here it is. Color code 0. Time slot is set to 1 right now. And it can do APRS through this too, so we can have some fun with this. There we go, simplex. Okay. I have no idea what I just did, but let's see what happens. Oh, geez. Okay, exit. Hang on a second. I think it was receiving something. It's a good thing I'm inside in a basement. All right, so let's go back to intercom. It looks like it's transmitting. Let's see. KC1 RGS testing. All right, so it is lighting up if you look on here. I'm not getting any audio though. But oh, you know what? Let me go back and switch out of simplex mode. And what's making me a little nervous is that the radio, when I first tuned to this channel, it was transmitting on that. All right, so here's the test channel that we set up.
KC1 RGS testing.
Where did that come from?
KC1 RG.
What the heck was that? KC1 RGS testing. KC1 RGS testing from the Anytone. Well, that's talk group 99. Okay, so let's try that. So let's go back in and edit that. That's correct. Yes, you can listen with this and start. You could tune to your favorite, your local repeaters with it, right? Yep. Could totally do that. And it does keep a record of all of the audio that it's sent. It records everything. That's pretty crazy. All right, so let's go back to channel. And I've got about another 5 or 10 minutes before I got to deal with the kids. I'm just nervous. Like it seemed like this thing was transmitting when it tuned into that frequency. All right, so let's go to and I'm receiving some interference on here too, just like we were before. So I'm going to look at yeah, because I have these settings already in my radio. I'll put this down next to it here. So I've set up some of these talk groups locally. And this local only is actually a talk group. So I have 99. So I'm guessing when I hit the transmit button here, it's going into talk group 99. So let me just do that, and I guess in group mode. Let's see what happens. Contact type group 99. Okay. All right, so now we got group 99. KC1 RGS testing. Nada. All right, let's try to go the other direction. KC1 RGS testing from the Anytone. Nada. All right, so you know what I need to do is I need to set up, I think what the issue is this radio, although the color code is 1 on this, so let's go back in. DMR can get tricky, and I've only done DMR configurations for repeaters. So let me get this one configured. So what's interesting is that the radio likely received something from here, but because it wasn't on the right color code, it didn't know what to do with it. But now we're on color code 1. KC1, there we go. Whoa. That worked. Let's try the other direction here, ready? KC1 RGS testing. Hey, that was cool. All right, let's see what it says when I hit the button here. KC1 RGS testing. So it displays my name on here. That works. Pretty cool. So yeah, it's a full-blown 70 centimeter radio. So we got analog to work and we got digital. That's wild. Now can I send a message? Yep, look at that. Isn't that wild? It missed part of the message, just got the ES in that. All right, so let's go reply. Remember typing out messages like this? Ha! Look at that. And yes, Stinger, that's correct. So I bet you that's why it didn't take me. I'll have to play around a little bit more with it. Yes, I don't think I have any repeaters near me right now that are analog at 400 megahertz. I'm looking at all the 70 centimeter ones. Let me see if I can narrow this down by county. So let's see. Yeah, all the ones near me are not near me, with the exception of the one that's on my high school, which I could probably hit that one if I go over there. But that works. That's pretty cool. Let's send a longer message here and see what happens. But that's the only issue, is that if you can't put in your call sign, what happens, right? But it's a standard DMR radio. Yeah, so it looks like it's cutting off like the first 2 characters of the message, but it's going on the other end here. And these are like, I don't know if these are APRS messages. Gotta go and change this to, oops, shoot. Yeah, that's something simpler here. I'm not up on my dialing stuff anymore. There it goes. Boom. Pretty cool. No cell phone required, or cell phone network required, I should say. It's a pretty functional radio. All right, so it seems to be working. This is KC1 RGS. Woo, sorry. I wonder what the range is now. That's the next thing to test is the range on it. But yeah, CW time. You know, do some Morse code on this sucker. These are messages over DMR. Okay, so it's supporting the standard DMR messaging. So I guess the question is, where does it support? So this is the issue with these things, is that I guess it's not illegal to sell, or is it? This is a question for my ham folks on here. So I know what I'm allowed to do. Are they allowed to sell a radio that can go off band like this? Because this thing goes the full length of 400 megahertz. I think it goes like 400 to 480. It's pretty wild. Yeah, so I guess you could send 2 stars there and that would get it in there. Yeah, so I guess, you know, it really varies here based on the range that you can go with this thing. And that might be one of the fun things to try out. One of the things that I found with APRS at least, and I'm guessing with DMR also, is that you don't get any kind of acknowledgement, right? So I don't know if it would be able to acknowledge a message. Now I've got the app running in the background. I want to see what happens here. KC1 RGS testing. Yeah, so it runs in the background. And to respond, though, you have to pull the app back up. But that's pretty cool. I'm impressed with this. And Plasma says they're technically business devices. Oh, I see. So the assumption being that they would operate within the areas that are licensed. And I guess if you had a business that was licensed on one of those other frequencies, you could use it for that. Interesting. James Howe, thank you for the follow on Amazon. And I think I answered Hans's question earlier. It's about 5 miles from here, I think. So. And then I guess the other question would be, can people operate on those frequencies at 2 watts? I'm guessing some, but not all, right? But you could put it on the FRS frequency, and that would probably work. This is pretty wild. I mean, it is both for analog and for digital. It looks as though it can handle everything you would need to connect to a repeater, minus the fact that I cannot at the moment register my DMR identification number. But I can set multiple talk groups here on each channel that I tune to, similar to what I do with my Anytone radio here. But it doesn't identify itself like it does on my Anytone radio. But yeah, this is neat. Yeah, I'm gonna have some fun with this thing. I gotta do a little bit more with it. But just to give you a sense as to what it comes pre-programmed with. So when people buy this phone, these are the channels they're gonna be operating under, because it's just like, here's your channels, analog and digital, have fun, right? That's problematic. Because again, these are not FRS channels. It starts at 401.025 and goes all the way to 416. So they're using their own kind of channels, right? It's just like whatever they call a channel, I think, is what they're kind of calling it here. So there was a question as to whether or not I can, if there's general settings. Oh, it has scanning also. It has like a little scanner built in. So as far as settings are concerned, then I got to run in a few minutes here, everybody. It has a, so it won't key on and leave on forever. So it'll only transmit a maximum of 30 seconds at a time. I have it set to record right now. I'm going to turn that off because no need in just filling up the memory with that. It has temperature detection. I guess if it gets too hot, the transmitter. It's 2 watts in a smartphone this size is always kind of a problematic thing. You have zones that you can set up. This is the software version. I'm just looking to see if I can put my DMR ID in anywhere. Maybe I can do it here. Doesn't look like it. Oops. I guess I can take my picture. And I have a contact list here, but I don't think I can put my own contact in. Let me try putting my ID in here. Maybe if I can assign that to myself. Okay, C1 RGS. And my DMR ID. Device ID. Oh, okay. So where did you see that? Let's take a look here. Let's go back. Are you leaving?
Yeah, the girls know you're down here.
Okay. All right. So let me go back to device setting. Device ID. Aha, that is it. That's got to be it. Yeah, I'm going to have to talk to somebody about this because I'm curious about. Because if I'm going to review this thing, I want to make sure I'm giving the right advice as to what people can do with it. All right, so now I'm going to go and find, I got to look up my ID again, DMR ID lookup. And I got to run it. As soon as my kids get bored up there, I'm done. So hopefully. All right, so my DMR ID is 319-1727. All right, so let's see what comes across when I ping it next time. Oops. It's a nice little phone, though. I mean, it feels. I mean, even without the walkie-talkie thing, it's pretty cool. All right, so here we are. We're going to try this again, and let's see. We hit 55 minutes already. I think we're still here. All right, so let's try this again here and see if everybody's still with us. Okay. Yeah, it looks like we hit the 55-minute mark a little bit early. They're still working on the problem. They keep telling me that they're working on it. All right, so let me go over to the other side of the room here because it keeps echoing. So let's see if the number pops up, and you can all tell me. All right, so here we go. So let me turn the phone back on. It turns off really quickly. KC1 RGS testing. And I think it worked this time. I think it transmitted my, it did, 319-1727. Yep, and I think that's my number, 319-1727. Yes. Okay. So now, let me go back to my repeater. And you know what I'll do? Okay, so this is my repeater now. And this is the parrot talk group, which means it'll just read back to me. So I'm going to go tune this radio. I don't think I won't get anything back, but I will see. I will see if there's any activity on the repeater when I hit this, because this is listening on a frequency different than what the other radio will be sending at. So let me walk closer. I'm going to walk outside real quick, and I'll tell you what I'm doing here. I wish I should have brought my phone with me. All right, so I'm going to first hit it with my regular radio here. KC1 RGS testing. And sometimes this parrot thing doesn't always work. Let me try it again. KC1 RGS testing. Yeah, so this repeater, it doesn't always work on the parrot either, which doesn't help. So I guess I could just try to tune to one of the local talk group. Let me see if it even picks up any activity. It looks like it did. KC1 RGS testing. So the repeater is showing some activity. So you know what I might do is tune to the local talk group. And I just need to look up, I actually have that on here, don't I? List. Local only, which is talk group. Hang on a second, everybody. That's talk group 9. So let me go in there. And I'm just, I'm on the other end of the room here, so I can go outside, because there's no way this radio is going to hit the repeater in here. So let's go into intercom, channel. We're going to edit the repeater and add a talk group, which is going to be talk group 9. All right, so let's go back to that. I'm just trying to figure out how to change talk groups now. They don't make it easy to change talk groups. This is color code 2, slot 1, group, and we're going to go to talk group 9. Okay, so let's try that again. Okay, so let me try this one more time, and then I'll keep playing with it after the fact. All right, so my other radio is not lighting up. KC1 RGS testing. Nada. KC1 RGS testing. Yes, I don't even know if it's my repeater that's misconfigured, or I've got the wrong thing configured here. Who knows? Yeah, I got to keep messing around with it. DMR is a tricky animal. And unfortunately, I don't have an analog repeater nearby, so I can't really try out anything there. But yeah, pretty cool. All right, I got to get moving here, but we will keep playing with this because I have to get my kids to their softball thing. And we'll try a little bit more later. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a phone and it's a ham radio. That's cool. All right. Yeah, so I'm going to talk to. I'll try to get some information on what you can and can't do with this. And we'll see where we go. CS, it seems like a lot of work just to talk to yourself. Well, you know, eventually you find other people that you can talk to. I don't have a lot of people to talk to, so that's why I talk to myself. But we almost had a successful contact to see with Trent, but it's good stuff. All right. Yes, I'll look into some of the legalities. It seems like if it's a business use, then it's probably okay to sell, but I think consumers need to be aware of what they can and can't do with it. And it probably would have behooved them to have programmed in the FRS frequencies, which would be safer, although apparently having a detachable antenna is not permitted on FRS. Because I could detach this antenna and put a larger one on. I mean, I could hook up a wire antenna in the backyard or something. What would be really cool is if you could do like weak signal and sideband and everything, but it's just standard FM. It's a hamular radio. That's great. I like that. So Joe Tyson's another toy to buy. Yeah, that's the one thing that I've discovered in this ham radio thing is that I started out with one radio, this one, and then I bought my HF thing over there, and then I got this one the other day because it was cheap, and I'm like, I could use a couple more of these things. And then I got this cable that hooks up to this, so I was doing packet radio with a USB soundboard thing, but this one, if you plug in this cable to the computer, it doesn't need the in-between. It just works directly with the computer, and it can send packet radio stuff. So I'm working on a fun project with the Pixel 6a phone that I reviewed recently to try and contact the space station using an APRS app on the Pixel phone, while at the same time tracking the satellite location. And I just need to get the right USB-C adapter because the Pixel phone, of course, doesn't have a headphone jack, which makes this all the more difficult. But you can talk to the space station. You have to use a special antenna. But what's great is that when the space station is overhead, even with a rubber duck antenna, if you point it at the right spot, you can actually hear what's coming off the space station with just a little handheld radio like this. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm excited for playing around with this thing. So now, I started today with 3 ham radios, the 2 here plus my Yaesu over there, and now I have 3, and this one doubles as a smartphone. But it only does the 70 centimeter band. That's it. And it doesn't look like you can access the radio component with anything other than the intercom app that they have for it. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, so it's like DigiRig. Yeah, so I have a, what is it? I gotta remember what it is. The Signal Link. I have the Signal Link box, which I was using with my Anytone. So it is more reliable. It just seems to work better. And the Signal Link box will key the mic electrically and not with Vox. So when I have the audio case, and actually the Signal Link works with both this radio and this one. When I have the audio cable connected, it needs Vox to operate, and I found that it does hold on a little bit more than I would like after sending the packet. And I'm using Direwolf for my TNC. And I don't have any extra delay attached to it. It just seems to hold the thing open a little bit longer. And that just could be the Vox delay on this. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. So, but yes, you should get your ham license. You all should get your ham license because I am having so much fun with this ham thing because it's so, like, you have to learn all this stuff. And I like learning new things. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. So yeah, I've got a lot of radios. In fact, I have more radios than I have people to talk with right now. But I have a friend of mine on the other end of town. I'm going to try to reach him on this in a little bit if he's home. Because he's got one of these. Actually, he's got 2 of these plus a bunch of other equipment. So we'll see if I can hit him on that. Here's a good question from Andrew. In my experience, any band preferences when it comes to the tech license? Yeah, so I'm studying for the general. I'm getting there. I just need time. And I've got a day trip into New York tomorrow, so I'm going to try to tackle a lot of ham studying during that trip. So for band preferences, I've been doing a lot on HF, high frequency, in the 10 meter band. So I've been doing a lot with FT8 because there's a lot of activity there. And what I've also been doing is if I see FT8 signals really loud on the radio, then I go up into the phone area, which is, I think, 28.300 to 28.500. Although you got to be careful not to, if you're using USB, not to go too far in either the lower end or the upper end direction of the area that you're allowed to operate in. But I've had some really clear phone contacts, which is voice contacts, with people down in South America. In fact, I got one guy in Brazil the other day, and then last night I talked to somebody, 2 people in Trinidad and Tobago, which was awesome. And as Trent says, the 20-meter band is the bread and butter. That's what I'm trying to get on, because that's where everybody is. And all these digital modes that I want to mess around with, there's a lot more activity on 20 meters. So I'll be there soon. I'm going to, hopefully, my goal is to get the test done by September. And I will probably not be on a repeater in New York City. But if you're in New York City, email me, and maybe I'll bring one of these radios with me, and I'll try to contact you. And I cannot use 28.700 because my limit as a technician is 28.5. But it is very habit forming. It's like, honestly, like I'm looking at my Yaesu over there. I'm like, I got to turn it back on again. And I'm looking at like antennas, and like it's going to be really crazy here. Andrew remembers the 6-meter band being the redheaded stepchild, all bandwidth restrictions of HF, but with the signal reach of VHF. So yeah, I've been mostly 10 meters is where I would focus on as a technician, and then and where I am, VHF and UHF are just not that active. So there is a BBS not too far from me that I can hit, so that's kind of fun to play with. And then there's an APRS repeater at a buddy of mine's house around the corner from where my mother lives. So I've been playing around a lot with APRS on VHF, but beyond that, there's not much to do, at least where I am. So that's why the HF has been really fun, because you have FT8, and you can do all the other digital modes. You won't find that many people on anything other than FT8, but FT8's really busy on 10 meters. My HF rig, I have a Yaesu FT991A, which does VHF and HF in the same unit. I'm really happy with it. So I'm loving it. What I do mostly is FT8 because that's all I can really encounter on 10 meter at the moment as a technician. But I've been remoting into it. So I set up, it's in the house, I'm not going too far away from it. But I set up FT8, WSJTX as a software, and I have it run and monitor. And then if I'm out in the yard or whatever, I pop my phone open and VNC into the computer. And it's pretty fun. All right. Well, it works. It is a legit 70 centimeter ham radio, but you got to be careful you don't go out of band on it. So be aware of that. We're going to have more with this after I do some more testing with it. And that's the question, I may have to do 2 videos on this, one on the phone and one on the ham radio part, because there's a lot to this. So yes, 2 sites. There's a free one, which I think is really good. It's called hamstudy.org. Start there, and then Ham Test Online is one that I used, which was good. But believe it or not, I'm actually doing better on hamstudy.org, and it's free. Hamstudy.org is what I would start with. And the technician license is not that bad. The general isn't bad either. But what I'm glad at is that I started operating as a technician, and a lot of the terminology on the general exam makes sense to me now. So that's how it's worked. And going out of band is always possible. That's right. You got to be on top of it. You got to check your band plan. I keep mine printed out by the radio just to make sure that I don't go off band. All right. And Trent has been killing it. Like he got like technician and then general like the next week. So Trent is he's my inspiration on this. And we're still trying to reach each other. So that's why I'm trying to get onto a lower band. He did see me on an FT8 transmission, but we couldn't have a successful QSO. All right. I will talk to you all very soon, and we'll go from there. All right, everybody, I got to go take the kids to softball now. Talk to you a little bit. Have a great afternoon, and we'll be back again before you know it. Bye-bye.